Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be about Azariah and the fact that he is 6 months old. I'm just going to give you a little update on him, and I think I thought that I would feel differently about the fact that he's 6 months old, but honestly I don't think I've had time to process really that he is half a year old now. I think in the coming weeks, as it gets closer to 7 months, maybe I'll realize that time has really gone fast, and it's been a crazy year. 2020 has been a crazy year to raise a baby, a crazy year to have a baby, but also like such a cool year, such a blessing that I get to raise this baby. All right, first thing that I want to update you on is feedings. I don't think I did a 5-month update, but this has been happening since around 4 to 4.5 months after I did that update. So he just decided to do this thing basically overnight, where every single time that I would try to latch him or I'd put him in a breastfeeding position, he would just scream bloody murder, and I couldn't figure out why. And honestly, if your baby's ever done this, maybe you felt the same way, but I just felt rejected, just so rejected. And Craig kept being like, he's not rejecting you, like there must be something going on underlying. And I, as a first-time mom, there's still so much that I have to educate myself on, and a lot of the educating that I'm gonna do, or that I have been doing, is just through the experience of motherhood. So everyone warned me that teething could potentially be really awful. Like it could be overnight, something changes and your baby is just like not the same for a while, because teething is hard, it's painful, it's a lot. But they didn't tell me certain things that could potentially happen with teething, such as not wanting to latch, refusing to breastfeed, but taking a bottle way easier, and not refusing a bottle, just stuff like that nobody told me about. And so because I didn't know that was a thing, I didn't know that Azariah was teething. I didn't know that he could potentially have an ear infection because of teething. And those are things that I just had to learn, and I had to go to the pediatrician and be like, hey, why is my baby not breastfeeding? I'm pretty sure he's not trying to self-wean, because most babies don't self-wean until like after a year. And I just need you to tell me what's going on, because I am not ready for my breastfeeding journey to be done. I'm not ready for my baby to reject me in this way. Please tell me what's going on. And he looked in his ears and was like, I'm pretty sure that he has an ear infection, so we're gonna start him on some antibiotics. We didn't end up going the antibiotics route, and there's some reasons for that. We ended up treating it at home naturopathically with some things that we had researched ourselves. We talked to some other parents who have done stuff that are more of a natural way to heal ear infections, and we ended up being able to heal his ear infection in 2 days, which is really awesome, with just some natural things that we did at home. But teething hit him like a brick wall. It was full force, like happy baby one day, absolutely zero problems breastfeeding, it was great. And then the next day it was like, I don't want anything to do with you. And that was a really hard transition for me, and I would be lying to you if I said that it didn't affect me negatively, or increase my postpartum anxiety, because that is very much true. If Craig was sitting here giving you an update also, he would tell you that I was not okay, because trying to feed your baby and trying to get them to latch when that was such a natural thing for them to do, and there was never an issue with it, to like overnight them not even wanting anything to do with feeding off of you, mentally like screwed me up. And for him to scream in the way that he would was terrifying. And so I have a doula friend, and I ended up asking her, I was like, hey, can you please try to explain to me what's going on? And she sent me a couple articles, and one of them was from a website called kellymom.com. And she's like, a lot of times if you have any questions, go here, because it's a really good resource. And so I typed in teething into kellymom.com, and it was like one of the I guess, symptoms or reactions of teething is refusing to breastfeed, or like breastfeeding, popping off, screaming, flailing around, stuff like that. And so I was like, okay, that makes sense. I'm grateful to know that it's not something I'm doing or not doing, because I went crazy, guys, okay? I was like, my breast milk has dried up. I'm not getting nothing. I don't have breast milk anymore. He's preferring the bottle over me now. Like, what have I done? Have I given him too many bottles? Like, all of these thoughts were going on in my head. And one of the things that my doula friend said it could be, if it wasn't teething, was that he was getting a flow preference, which basically just means he was starting to prefer the flow of the bottle over my flow, which my flow is faster, the bottle flow is slower. And that was devastating for me too. I was like, please don't let it be that. Please don't let it be that. Because there's nothing wrong with having to go to bottle feeds. If I were to start to, exclusively pump and give him bottles, it was just something that I was like, what happened? Why would that have been the case so suddenly, so quickly? And thankfully that was not the case. And I stuck it out. And let me tell you, every single day for about a month and a half, I debated stopping breastfeeding, just cold turkey, being like, all right, I can't do this anymore. I can't mentally deal with the fact that I know when feedings are coming, or when feeding time is coming, when I go to try to latch him, he's potentially just going to scream, or he's going to latch on and then pop off and start screaming. And it was a lot for me and made my anxiety a lot, made me not a very happy person. And a lot of days I just ended up crying all day, because I was like, I feel so lonely in this. I feel so confused. What's wrong with him? Like, what am I doing wrong? And so we started trying to do different teething methods and stuff, natural teething things. We never have done Tylenol or Orajel or anything like that. We've just done stuff like, this company called Welleman's has this baby tooth oil that we'll put on him. I also made a roller bottle of some oils to roll on the outside of his jawline, and some different teethers and stuff like that. And they have helped, like, periodically, but teething just sucks. So it's just going to be hard for a while. And we think that he's getting his back teeth first. His therapist felt in his mouth, and she thought that the same thing, that she thinks he's getting his back teeth first. So it wouldn't necessarily be his molars, but it would be just like around there. And honestly, that sounds terrible, to get your back teeth in first. So the fact that he seems to be in so much pain is, I don't blame him for that. It's just really hard. It's a really hard thing to deal with every day, knowing that we're gonna wake up and he might have a good day. He might have a day where he's just inconsolable all day, and nothing will soothe him because his mouth just hurts so bad. And I hate that. I hate seeing that as a mom. I hate not being able to comfort him in the way that I want to, seeing him in pain, all the things. It's just really hard. So all that to say, the feeding thing, he is still exclusively breastfed. For a while there, we did have to end up giving him more bottles than we did before. I would always still offer the breast before I would offer the bottle, just because I wanted him to know that that was like still an option, even if it was, because sometimes he did feed off of me perfectly fine. It just depended on how bad his pain was, how uncomfortable he was, depending on if he would like want to breastfeed or not. So I would always do that first, just because I didn't want to rule that out and then just go straight to the bottle too quickly. And I'm grateful I didn't do that, because I think that helped him still like want to feed off the breast. And he does it decently okay now, to the point being 6 months, but there are some days like today where he's struggled a little bit more with breastfeeding. He still does it. It just is a process. He kind of is a little bit fussier, pops off some more, cries a little bit. It's just, yeah. So that's the whole situation. If you are a mom who has been through something similar, I understand. And what is ironic is I actually had a pretty decent amount of moms here recently message me, before I even talked about this whole thing on Instagram, message me and say, hey, when Azariah was teething, did he have this behavior, which was like the exact behavior that I was just describing to you. So it's nice to know that you're not alone if your baby is doing something that you're like, is he okay? Is everything fine? Am I ruining my baby? No, you're not. It's normal. It's very normal, but it's also very hard. If you are concerned, always go to your pediatrician and ask, because that's what we did. We waited for like only a few days of him screaming and crying and not nursing to be like, all right, we're going to the pediatrician to make sure that there's not something serious wrong. And it ended up just being an ear infection and teething. So we had his pediatrician appointment on this past Tuesday, his 6-month wellness check, and he was 15 pounds, 14 ounces, and when he went for his 4-month, he was 15 pounds, 2 ounces, I think. So the pediatrician was super, super happy with his growth. He had a growth spurt lengthwise, so he's like longer now, and everything else just looks really, really good. She was super impressed. I had her look in his ears again to make sure that the ear infection was just, not trying to come back or anything like that. And she was like, no, his ear canals look beautiful, which was great. And there was really it was a super uneventful wellness check, which you always want uneventful wellness checks. And it was also just good to hear that he was right on track with his development and his growth and stuff. That was really awesome to hear. So when I say this, some of you are not going to believe me, and that's fine. He is still in 3-month clothes, and sometimes 3-month clothes are too big for him. But I also know that 3-month clothes can be certain lengths too. So he feels really thick and he feels solid, but he's still really little. So he's been in 3-month clothes since actually for about 2 months now. I think we transitioned from 0 to 3 to just 3 months when he was 4 months, or around that time. So yeah, we have had to get more and more 3-month clothes because he's progressively been in it, and it's gotten hotter in the summer, so we need more cooler clothes and stuff. And when it comes to Milestones, he's waking up, and I just put him to bed 15 minutes ago. Sleep is another thing I need to talk about, but first of all, when it comes to Milestones, he is on target with his adjusted age. Tummy time is still terrible for him. I know that you're gonna be really quick and try to give me all the suggestions in the comments below. I've done everything. I have done literally everything. I just think sometimes babies don't like tummy time, and they'll protest and protest and protest for a period of time, and then they'll just eventually be like, all right, I got it. I'm tired of protesting. I've had some people say that once their baby could roll from back to belly and belly to back and side and all those things, then they felt more confident. I don't know. I'm not gonna push him. Well, correction. I am encouraging him more. I'm making him still do tummy time because it is something that he needs to do. It's a developmental marker that he needs to hit to be able to do it and to do the other things that I know he wants to be doing. So in his physical therapy, tummy time is something that we're still definitely working on, just building his confidence in that, building his strength in that. But it is still very challenging for him. And I would say he's only probably a few weeks away, maybe a week or two, from being able to sit independently. He does really, really good right now. He sits by himself. If he's just like this, he can sit by himself. But if he has a toy in his hands, so where he can't sit with his hands bracing him or holding him up, if he's here, sometimes he'll still wobble and fall to the side or wobble and fall forward. So he's super, super close. He just has to get a little bit more core strength and a little bit more confidence in that. So that's another thing that we're working on in therapy. But I'm really proud of him. I'm very, very, very proud of how hard he's working, and the fact that he is meeting developmental milestones despite being premature and having spina bifida is just really, really encouraging, and I'm so proud of him, and he's just a little brave, strong boy. Last thing that I want to talk about when it comes to Azariah is his sleep. He is Oh Lord, sleep is hard. Do you guys remember this video that I made when I talked about him sleeping through the night from 6 weeks until 4 months? Yeah, well, at 4 months, he stopped sleeping through the night. The 4-month sleep regression is a thing. I know that it's not technically a regression, it's technically like a leap because their development is going crazy and they're doing all these new things and blah, 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 but it definitely is a sleep regression. You definitely regress when it comes to sleep, okay? At least in my experience. And Azariah's life and his sleep life habits, I have been struggling a lot. It went from him sleeping through the night to he will not go to sleep by himself, just randomly. He used to go to sleep independently so easily. I literally would put him down wide awake and he'd go to sleep. Now there's a whole process and I have to go in and check on him multiple times. Yeah, we were going to try to sleep train. Now, when you hear the word sleep train, you might be thinking the cried out method. We personally do not follow the cried out method and will not be. Will there be crying involved in sleep training? Yes, because it's different. It's something that babies don't want to do. It's hard for them to learn how to self-soothe. But when we were going to start sleep training at 5 months was when his teething got really bad. And I just personally didn't feel comfortable with trying to sleep train while he was teething so much, because I know that when babies are teething, they just need a lot more comfort. And so I didn't want to try to teach him to self-soothe on top of also being in pain and needing comfort and soothing in that way. Does that make sense? That was just my own personal choice. I know that people have sleep trained through teething, and he's still teething, and we're gonna start sleep training here soon. It just was, at the time, I didn't feel comfortable doing it. But he currently wakes up about every hour, every 2 hours. So and mind you, he goes to sleep right now, like it's 5:55 and I put him to bed at 5:15 because he needed to. He was letting me know. We don't always go to bed at 5:15. There's not a specific time he goes to bed, but his wake window is a specific time. So depending on how long his naps are and everything like that is when we will put him down for bed. And today his naps were super short, so his wake windows were, he had to go to bed earlier, basically. If he goes to bed at 5, then I don't go to bed till 10:30, 11, then that's 5-ish hours of him already being asleep. And then he'll wake up right like an hour after I fall asleep. And then I'll wake up again and again and again and again. And then he'll be up for the day at like 4 a.m. It's definitely hard. Definitely hard. All babies are different. All babies take different amounts of time to get self-soothing and sleeping to a good place. And it's just taking a little bit longer for Azariah. I'm trying to have grace for him. I'm trying to have grace for me. But the lack of sleep is real, and it's very hard. It's very hard. From 4 months to 6 months has been a ride, but also so cool because he has developed such a personality. We actually, me and my mom just went to Michigan for a little girls trip, and I kid you not, I'll insert a clip right now of him laughing because it was the cutest thing.
Yeah. Yep, that's how we're gonna go. That's what we're gonna do in the gator. I know. We're gonna go. I know.
He has just blossomed in his personality. He's a little bit sassy sometimes now. He's feisty. He's also super lovey. He's also super smiley and happy. It's just really cool. Oh, hello. Hello. You always have to come be in my videos, huh? The other day I was eating yogurt and I had him like he was on my hip. And I went to put the yogurt in my mouth and he grabbed my spoon and pulled it to his mouth. And yes, I know that food grabbing and being interested in food can be a sign of babies being ready to start solids or start baby-led weaning, start purees, stuff like that. So that's another thing. At the pediatrician appointment, we were waiting to hear from them what they thought. We want to do baby-led weaning. The pediatrician said maybe just hold off on it for a couple more weeks just till he can sit a little bit more independently. But she said maybe just start introducing some purees of food like just that you have at your house to kind of maybe try to satisfy him a little bit more in between feedings and before bed to see if that helps him in his sleep. So we have done that. Actually, just 2 days ago, I started him on some purees. I didn't have a lot of food, so and he wasn't super interested in it. Well, he was interested in it in the first couple of bites and then kind of like got uninterested. And so, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen with that, but I know that there are some people who do both. They do purees and baby-led weaning. I'm not really sure what we're going to do yet, like for the long run, if we're going to do both or do purees for right now and then baby-led weaning exclusively. But I know no matter what, we are going to be doing baby-led weaning when we feel comfortable and when we feel like Azariah is really ready. Okay, that's pretty much everything. If I didn't talk about everything, that's okay. Those are the main things that I wanted to talk about. And I didn't really talk about myself because nothing really has changed since the last update. But yeah, that is it. My baby is 6 months old. I'm not sure how. I need to let it sink in a little bit more before I have true feelings and probably a meltdown about it. But yeah, I'm just grateful for his life. I'm grateful that he's half a year old and that we've done things like breastfed for 6 months. That's really awesome. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. And remember to love God, love yourself, and love people, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.